This Sunday morning edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live on X and YouTube, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off tons and tons of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, they have it all. So go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off regular price and sales priced items. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah. I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast's back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins. Can't relax. Original. I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never.
And welcome to Pucks Across Borders on a rainy Sunday morning here in Toronto. I don't know what it's like for you gents, but it is not nice outside, but that's okay. It's a Sunday. That's what it's all about. Rainy, put your feet up, watch some golf, some baseball, and Game 6 of the Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers tonight. We have an unfortunate game to break down. Andre, love you. I don't like to see my friends hurt, but we got to talk about it. Rangers losing in Game 6 to the Panthers last night. Lots to get into. But before we do, as always, I am Mark Sauter. Good to be here. John, right beside me at the top of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. How we feeling on a Sunday morning, man? Good to see you.
Good to be here. Unfortunately, one conference finals series is now over, and if the other one gets wrapped up tonight, we have an unfortunate warm period where the NHL is just really stretching things out to the very end, aren't they? I'm still not happy about that final schedule, to be honest.
No, June 24th for a Game 7 is outrageous. I mean, I was telling you guys pre-show, I love hockey. I love all sports, but hockey is my favorite. It gets me going. But you know what? By June 24th, I'm ready to watch some baseball, watch some golf, watch some CFL. I'm ready to be out of the house, go for walks with my family, and enjoy the weather. But instead, that's not what the NHL has in mind for us. And at the bottom of your screen, you read his gambling picks on winners and whiners. You read his work on Give Me Sport. Andre, how are you, man? How are you? Free counseling. We won't charge you, man. How you doing on a Sunday morning?
I'm doing pretty well. Obviously it hurts, but
yeah,
we're gonna get into it very shortly. I'm used to it, unfortunately. So,
well, I was gonna text you last night or this morning, trying to relate to your pain, and I know what it's like and all this stuff, but the truth is I have no idea. The Leafs always just put me out of my misery as soon as possible, so I don't really remember. The last time the Leafs broke my heart in the conference final was 2002, and I was like 14 years old. So, I can't relate to the pain you're feeling. Like me and John, I mean, actually, John's seen more Stanley Cup Finals than I have, but we're used to just getting shot in the head just instantly. Where I'm sure this feels worse. But yeah, lots to get into. We'll get into the game last night. Just real quick, for you golf aficionados out there, I want to just throw this out because we are a hockey show, but we're also a gambling show. And I want to, we talk about gambling, we talk about sports betting. So I just want to throw this out here. The RBC Canadian Open, my country's national championship. Yo, Ramos, that's true. That's the perfect cure for you, Andre. I don't know if you saw the comments, but that's perfect. So right now, Mac Hughes is tied for second. McElroy is tied for 11th. Corey Connors is tied 11th. And Taylor Pendrith is tied for the 15th right now in the RBC Canadian Open. On FanDuel, you can bet a special bet for all of them to get top 10 at plus 1,600. And I love that bet. And I bet it. So for you gambling people out there, whether you like golf or not, I think that's a beautiful, beautiful bet. Pendrith, Connors, McElroy, and Hughes all to get top 10 finish today at plus 1,600. So lock it in. That's out of the way. Now, let's deal with the hurt. Let's deal with the pain. Rangers lose 2-1 in Game 6 to the Florida Panthers last night. In a thoroughly entertaining hockey game, in my opinion. Shesterkin is just incredible, and as much as our Rangers fan, it sucks for him to not have his team in the finals. As a hockey fan, it sucks to not be watching Igor anymore because that guy is absolutely outrageous. Andre, talk to us, bro. What do you got? How do you feel? Talk to us about that game last night.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's not all about the Rangers as much as it should be. So kudos to the Panthers. I mean, great team.
I guess.
I mean, they were better. It stinks. I don't think the Rangers played their best or played particularly well, but I also think the Panthers played a large part in that, especially with their penalty killing. That definitely, it was a really tight series, and the Rangers' power play was non-existent. The cross ice passes the Rangers love, they were non-existent. The Panthers were disciplined. They were physical. They were relentless. They played good hockey. Obviously, they won the East last year, so they were hungry and on a mission. They deserve it. They earned it for sure. So it hurts as a Rangers fan, but sometimes you just got to give credit. Sometimes you just get beat. So kudos to that. As for the Rangers, you guys remember what I sent you yesterday before the game.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, you could have put Henrik Lundqvist's head on that, and I could have
tell the people what you sent us. Tell the people what you sent us.
I bleep out one of the words, but it's a picture of Igor Shesterkin holding a sign, and it says, "Somebody bleeping help me." And that's been my Rangers fandom, honestly, my entire life. I mean, Mike Richter was even a good goalie.
Oh yeah,
he's not Hall of Fame, but
great throwback.
Great goalie.
Yeah.
When I was a child, he was still in the net for this team. Obviously, I lived through Hank's whole career. He didn't win a cup, even though he breezed into the Hall of Fame. And it feels like the past 3 years have been 2012 through 2014 for Henrik Lundqvist all over again. You know, just conference finals, earlier exit. I guess 14 we made the cup final, but this year conference finals again. Maybe this year is more akin to 15, but at the end of the day, it's just the goalies playing phenomenal. Igor was outstanding and just meant absolutely nothing. It's just Rangers organizational hockey, I guess. I don't know. But when you're looking at this series, I know 20 people suit up every night. I think 22 played for the Rangers in this series, but looking at the guys that make the most money, Artemi Panarin, Adam Fox, Mika Zibanejad, Jacob Trouba, Chris Kreider. Then you get to Igor, and then you get to Trocheck. I mean, so before you get to Igor and Trocheck, of those five guys, would you say any of them made a massive difference? Maybe Adam Fox.
Yeah.
Those are your big boys, and they didn't do, at least monetarily, they're your big boys, and they didn't do big boy things. So it's not fair to assign blame to just five people. There are 18 skaters out there. There's two goalies healthy. There's a few more that bounce in and out of the lineup, but they're supposed to set the tone. They're supposed to show up, and it seemed like the points that they did get the goals that they did get, they were too late. Predictably so, but we're not going to get into that. I knew when the Panthers scored that second goal, we were going to get a useless goal at the end of it. But
yeah. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that's 2 games in a row, right? That's happened.
It's just classic Rangers hockey. The one thing I did want to say though, and I think that just kind of epitomizes that Florida was better and that the Rangers just had no answers. They were seeking answers. They were desperate, if you will, is Johnny Brodinski, who didn't play. He played 57 games in the regular season, had 19 points, whatever. Was a healthy scratch through most of this postseason. He played games, 4 and 6 in the second round, I believe. He played against Carolina twice. Didn't play against the Caps at all. Didn't play in this series until yesterday. This career fourth liner, fifth career playoff game, he's like 30, and this guy's getting power play minutes in the first period of an elimination game. That's desperation. That's throwing something at a wall and hoping it sticks. And that's partly the Rangers just not playing well enough with who they originally had, and it's partly the Panthers just driving the team crazy. And the Rats, that's what they do. So, I can sit here and bash the Rangers all I want, and they deserve a good chunk of it. At the same time, they played a great hockey team. So, fifth year in a row, a Florida team has won the East. It's kind of disgusting, but
at least good point. Teams. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, maybe hockey was really born in Florida. We just didn't know it.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. So this morning, doing the prep for the show, I was just looking at the stat sheet and at the score sheet, and I'm looking at just, I watched the game, but trying to look for things that I maybe missed. And I didn't even realize that Panarin's last second goal that you referred to, that was his 5th goal of the playoffs. And it's there are other things. Obviously, it's not all Panarin's fault. Hockey is the ultimate team sport. But that's one thing you can point to right there. You don't have to look very hard. Go to NHL.com. Look up last night. You see Panarin's name with the bracket 5 bracket. That's really right there. That's huge. You refer to Fox, bro. The last 2 minutes of that hockey game, Fox looked exhausted. And that just shows you as much depth as you think you have, the longer the playoffs go on, the more your depth gets exposed, right? And I just thought that Fox, we know he was banged up. We know he was fighting through a bunch of things, which everybody is, but him maybe more so than most. And hockey's crazy, right? When the playoffs are over, you find out that the guy was playing with a broken leg and 5 missing ribs. How was this guy playing hockey? That's insane. But yeah, that's what I noticed, that by the end of that game, their horses were getting run into the ground and they were just so tired. And Florida just had that little bit more, right? And that's also a chain reaction of your big guys not producing. When your big guys don't produce, the less goals you have, the more you run your big boys. If the big boys were producing, then the depth would get more ice time and the big boys would get more rest. It's all cyclical, right? So yeah, that's really tough. John, what did you see in that game last night, man?
I saw a team that couldn't be carried by their goalie forever because he met his match. I think the strategy, I don't even want to say strategy. I think the concept of Igor kept putting the team on his back was working in the first 2 rounds, but this time it couldn't work because he met his match in Bobrovsky. I mean, I don't want to put that just on Bobrovsky because I think the Florida defense as a whole did a great job in this series, shutting the Rangers down. But the Rangers outside of game 3, really couldn't get anything going. And that, as a result, basically forced Igor to have to be perfect. And the fact is, he wasn't. And Igor did very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of. But there were times he let a goal or two into the net that maybe he could have stopped. And that's all Florida really needed. That small foot in the door opening. They pounded on it, especially in the last 2 games, and really took advantage of the Rangers not being able to produce as many good opportunities offensively. Rangers side of things, I thought Lafreniere had a good series against Florida. Trocheck is someone that kind of disappeared a little bit. Like, he was a monster in the early rounds, but against Florida, I feel like I barely heard his name at times. And then there's guys like Kreider, who went quiet outside of Game 5. Sabanached, Andre was talking about recently. And there was one more. I'm trying to remember who it was.
Well, Panarin's the obvious one.
Yeah, and I'll throw in Trouba there too. I thought he had a bad series. Or bad playoff maybe overall. But yeah, so there's definitely guys you can point to on the Rangers, like, where were you? Like, what we're in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Something like that. And on the Florida side of things, I want to give a shout out to Sam Bennett. Thought he had a
my goodness,
terrific series.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
There were a couple very key goals he either made or set up in this series, in my opinion. And
he's had a great playoffs in general. Yeah.
Yes. No, for sure. And I think outside of Reinhart, he might arguably be Florida's best player in the postseason. And I think in the conference finals, he was definitely a big difference maker. So, and last night too, because he got the first goal to really get things started. I think we could talk about like some question marks surrounding that goal, but at the end of the day, Bennett took advantage of an opening and really got them started. Like I said, I personally feel like the Rangers just met their match goaltender-wise, and that really carried Florida over the top. I felt like the Rangers could have handled like the physicality and stuff had they been facing an Anderson or facing the Capitals as a whole even, but I think it just caught up with them at the end of the day. Like, you're not going to get away with scoring 1 or 2 goals a game, or even none in the case of Game 1. You're just not. You need more production from your offense.
Well, Andre, first of all, do you have something to say to that? I feel like you were getting ready to add something there.
When he said Trouba, I was going to say I think Trouba might genuinely be the worst player on the team.
Wow.
But,
damn.
I mean,
yeah,
I feel
that's
yeah, not feeling too good about his contract. But I feel like I would say Igor got outplayed or met his match. I would say like he let in the game winner. Or not the game winner, the second goal in Game 5, he should have stopped. But I think for the most part, the goals that Florida had, there was nothing he could do with. And he made a ton of stops he probably shouldn't have. Bob played great too. Not to discredit him or anything, but Bob also faced way easier shots.
Yes.
The guys just in front of Bob made his life so easy.
And
this is what you're supposed to do. So,
to your point, Andre, sorry to cut you off. I just want to throw this back to you on that same topic, because I was going to say the exact same thing. The quality of shots between the goals that Florida scored and the saves that Bob made were way different. And we talked about this all playoffs long. The Rangers rely on quality chances. That's what they rely on. They don't rely on 30, 40 shots or saves. Shots. They rely on 20 to 26 shots, with the majority of them being really high quality. My question to you is, and I don't really have an answer to this, I don't really know, but I'm curious from your perspective. Do you feel like Lavi got outcoached? Because Lavi is a very good coach, clearly. First year coaching the team, brings them within 2 wins of the promised land. But you were talking about this. I don't know if it was pre-show or on this show. Even this show is only 20 minutes old. I already forget. But do you like? It just felt like the Rangers were trying to do the exact same thing over and over through the neutral zone, the zone entries, constantly being pushed to the outside, nothing in front of the net. Like, there were a couple really good saves by Bob last night, don't get me wrong, but it just felt like the Rangers could not adjust to what the Panthers were throwing at them. I feel like the Rangers won game 3, they go up 2-1 in the series. From games 4 to 6, I feel like we watched the exact same game. Like, I feel like the game was just like a rerun. And I really felt like I'm not like a head coach. I play beer league on Friday nights. Like, I don't know. Like, what do I know? But watching the games, I feel like Lavi could have made some sort of adjustment, and it felt like it just never happened. What do you think about that?
They didn't adjust. I fully agree with that, and it just seemed like, especially when they had the puck in the zone, the movement wasn't crisp. Like when they were attacking, it just seems like, okay, we can't get to the middle ice. We'll just skate around, cycle, just throw one, hope for weird deflection, whatever. They weren't like forcing action. They weren't trying different, drop passes or cuts through the zone, picks, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, the neutral zone was a problem all series, but they never found ways to get their guys space. Like Adam Fox in game 4, the game time goal in the third, he had space, and you see what happened. He threw a backhand to Laffy, wide open net for a goal. You didn't really see that for most of the series, though, and it's easier said than done. I'm not an NHL head coach, obviously, but it just didn't feel like the Rangers, with the man advantage or 5-on-5, ever just drew up a way to get open looks for their good guys, or get them in space where they could skate down, or they could get a great pass because someone else had the pinch, or they didn't put pressure on Florida's skaters defensively. It felt like their defensemen could just sit by Bob, give him a lane to see the puck, just pretty much for 60 minutes. No pressure on him. So, again, and just, you said something about like Lavi got him 2 wins within the conference finals. And yeah, that's a hell of an achievement. It's not easy to do, but I've also seen Tortorella, Vigneault, Gallant, and I'm missing somebody else, all do the same thing. It's just, it gets tiresome.
Yeah.
Everyone get just as far, like close, but not close enough. I think Laviolette's a good coach, and he made adjustments against Carolina. I don't know, maybe he just didn't have the answers in the series, especially after VC got hurt.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know why. I feel like that injury somehow just forced the Rangers strategically into scramble mode.
Well, and like you said off the top, man, like, no disrespect to Florida. I said this a couple days ago. I've said this for most of the season. When Florida is at their best, this team can win the Stanley Cup. Like, Florida is an incredible good team. Even if Lavi did make adjustments, maybe they win last night, but Florida might win in game 7. Like, it's like Florida's a very, very good hockey team, and they're going to their second straight cup final. I was just thinking about, game 5, Dallas and the Oilers, which we're going to talk about game 6 here in a few minutes. But the Oilers, one of the best power plays in history of the NHL, could not do anything. And in game 5, like, how in the NHL now, everybody on the power play, they're going through the neutral zone and they pass it back to the guy who's in motion, and then they break with speed into the neutral zone and pass it off to the wings. And that's just how every single power play. As a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, if I see Mitch Marner like, or anybody for that matter, cough up a puck at the blue line with that stupid play. It drives me nuts. For whatever reason, that's the way that every power play works now. And the Oilers were like, yo, let's do something different. Pass the puck from their own like hash mark way up to the blue line, broke in, scored a goal. And it was just like something different that the other team hasn't seen before. Let's just do something different. If it works, then it works. If not, great. But at least we're keeping the other team guessing. And I just didn't see that from the Rangers at all. And that was really interesting to watch. John, any last words on the series before we move on? Parting thoughts?
I just have a question geared towards Andre for like a Rangers fan perspective. Given the Rangers, like the results the last few years in the playoffs, do you think 2025 is going to be a big pressure year for the Rangers, or was this the pressure year, would you say?
I mean, entering the season, nobody, I won't say nobody, but very few people probably would have picked this team to be playing in June. So I wouldn't say this was the pressure year until the President's Trophy buzz and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, next year is the last year of Igor's current deal, so he'll be an unrestricted free agent.
What does he make right now? Do you know what he makes right now?
Like 5.5 or something like that.
Oh, that guy. That's a double-digit contract coming up soon, bro.
Yeah. And just like most of the core right now isn't like they're all under contract for next year. So they're pretty much running it back. Obviously with the President's Trophy win with another conference finals loss, it's going to be like last year. Last year there was more expectations, I think, than this year because it was coming off the conference finals loss and you want to get to that next step. So I think that's going to be a factor again. So yeah, I think next year is definitely going to be a pressure year for this team. And well, hopefully following the Lundqvist logic of his career, it'll mean that we go to the Cup Finals. And hopefully, unlike Lundqvist, we won't lose this time. But it's going to be a lot next year, especially with the way that the series just ended. So,
well, John, speaking for both of us, me and you, John, I know Andre, both of our teams, like your team was at home for only like 10 days longer than my team was. And I know Andre was getting pretty cocky, pretty big-headed about his team still playing and blah, blah, blah. Well, now he's just one of us. He gets nothing, just like we got nothing. And in the course of a few weeks, when the Cup Finals done, we're going to do, and I'm just making this up now, but we're going to do self-centered pucks across borders. What do the three teams that we root for need heading into the 2024-25 season? It will be completely self-fulfilling, all about us. Any other team, we don't care. It's going to be, what do the Leafs, Devils, and Rangers need to do to compete for the Stanley Cup next year? Can't wait for that show. But first, we have the Stanley Cup Finals. But first, we have a Game 6 between the Oilers and the Stars tonight. Will we get one Game 7 in the conference final? Either way, this conference finals, both series have been terrific. Way better than in basketball, and that's really all you can ask for. The Dallas Stars are in Edmonton tonight, fighting for their lives, hoping to stave off elimination. Not going to be able to say that maybe past today. That might be the last time we can actually use that word until next spring. Dallas Stars plus 120 on the road. Edmonton Oilers minus 142 at home. The over 5.5 at minus 105. The under minus 115. Plus 1.5 for the Stars is minus 225. Minus 1.5 for the Oilers plus 185. John, what do you got for this game tonight, bro? Are we seeing a Game 7 or what?
I'm torn, honestly, because one half of me is like, I feel like at least one of these conference finals has to go to a Game 7, and I still think Dallas is capable of bouncing back in this series. But on the other side of things, Edmonton, the last 5 periods of hockey for them, it's the best hockey I've seen for them since that historic winning streak. It's really unbelievable the way they've played in nearly 2 full games now. Especially game 5. I think that was their best game of the playoffs, even better than the Vancouver game 6. So I think what I discovered about Edmonton is something I don't think I really realized until recently. I think we all agreed Edmonton had the lowest floor of the 4 teams left, but in the last 2 games I've realized Edmonton has the highest ceiling too of the 4 teams left. Like when they're on, they are on. They make other teams look silly. And I think that's what they did to Dallas in game 5. And the Oilers seem to have figured something out. And since we weren't here yesterday, I'll go into this a little bit. They're getting dangerous because the last 2 games they have gotten production from their depth. Like the big boys are contributing, don't get me wrong, but like they're not doing everything. They've taken a lot of pressure off of McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman. They don't have to do everything now. The lower lines are coming up with goals, and that's made all the difference in the world for the Oilers. I don't know what happened to them after they went down 2-0 in game 4, but they've looked like a different team since. And if that team shows up and in front of this crowd with Skinner playing as well as he has been, the series will be over. Do I think that it's going to happen for another 3 periods in a row? I'm leaning towards no, but I do think the Oilers have figured something out. On the Dallas side, Wyatt Johnston's still on fire despite the losses.
Yep.
I would expect him to come up with at least another, because it is what it is. With Hintz there, he's good. Also, like I think Tyler Seguin's due to do something for the Stars. He's been off the last 2 games now, and he's just too good of a player to get shut off the board for this long. I think betting wise, I'm seriously considering a prop for Seguin, depending on how bold you want to get. I think there's good value for him to get a point, and even better value for him to score a goal. I think that was at like plus 350 last time I looked. So Seguin is definitely a player I'm looking at very closely. I'm leaning towards Dallas gets this to game 7, but I don't know how much I'd really recommend that to like betting. I think I'm staying away from sides here and looking more at the player props, to be perfectly honest, from a betting perspective. But if you had to ask me who I'm picking, I think I'm leaning towards Dallas just because I think it's just a gut feeling. I see one of these series getting to a game 7.
It seems hard to imagine any team in this series winning 3 games in a row. Like it just feels like that. Both teams have won 2 in a row now, right? The Oilers won game 1, Dallas wins 2. The Oilers then win the next 2. So, 2 games winning streak has happened for both sides now. Just the way the series has gone, the Oilers winning 3 in a row seems far-fetched, but I'll get to my thoughts in a minute. Andre, what about you, man? What do you see in this game tonight?
Well, I think John hit the nail on the head, really, when it comes to talking about the Oilers. They've been playing fantastic hockey for, 2 periods now? Or not 2, 5. 5 periods now. Yeah. 5 change, really. It started at the end of the first period in game 4. So it's hard to bet against a team with that kind of ceiling. The Stars are going to always put pressure on the other team, and then it's the depth has been coming through for them. So one thing that I have to maintain on a lighter note is that curses aren't real. I've been saying it all season, and since it doesn't apply to the President's Trophy anymore, I'm now applying it to Canada. I believe that the Oilers are going to win this game. I believe the Oilers are going to win this series. I've completely flipped. I just love what I'm seeing from them right now.
Yeah.
And I really think it's Bouchard is really impressed me more than anybody lately.
Yeah,
he's been
so good.
Playing phenomenal. So that's where I'm at. I think this is an Oilers win. And the biggest concern for me, at least when talking about Dallas, very good team, but 25 shots in game 2 and then less than 25 in games 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
They have not been putting the puck on the net. That sounds kind of familiar for a top seed in these conference finals. So game 1, they put up 33 shots in a double OT loss. Or was that a loss? I don't even remember. Yeah, it was a double OT loss.
Yeah.
And then since then, they haven't had more than 25 shots on goal in a game. So maybe that changes tonight facing elimination, but we've seen 4 games where not a lot of shot volume. So I'm going to stick with Edmonton to win again. I'm going to take them to advance.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, good morning, Adam. Good to have you on, man. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Yeah, like, to me, it's hard because, and I tend to do this with teams who are losing. I don't know if other people are like this as well. I would assume so, but the Oilers have played very, very well the last couple games. There's no way around that. They've played very, very well. You're absolutely right about Bouchard. I heard a phenomenal debate on Toronto radio this past week saying that, Bouchard is not, at least on FanDuel as of Friday, Bouchard was not on the odds list for Conn Smythe. And there are some people making an argument for Bouchard being the Oilers Conn Smythe favorite right now, which I do feel like Connor McDavid is going to win the Conn Smythe no matter who. I feel like Stuart Skinner could allow 0 goals in the entire Stanley Cup Finals, and McDavid will still end up getting the Conn Smythe. But you're absolutely right about Bouchard. He's played phenomenal. Where my mind goes to, though, that performance by the Stars on Friday night was extremely puzzling. They just never looked engaged. They never looked really involved. The Oilers played great. I'm not taking anything away from them. I think that the Oilers did find something. And I also know Tanev is playing on 1 foot right now. So with one of the fastest teams in the NHL, that's very concerning. I get all of that. But Dallas just looked like Friday night at home. The Mavericks just made it to the finals, all the hype, and they just looked flat from the get-go. And I felt like they never really got going at all. Didn't even get their first goal until the game was basically over. So I'm really interested to see what happens tonight. Game 3, we remember the Oilers at home, they started off, they were shot out of a cannon. They were unbelievable in that first period, and then the Stars just completely took over. And then in game 4, you saw the Stars shot out of a cannon, and within 15 minutes, the game was tied. I'm not really sure what to expect and what we're really looking at as far as a winner. Like I previously said, I do think that based on the vibes of this series, it is hard for me to imagine the Oilers winning 3 games in a row. I feel like Jake, like I know him, my buddy Jake Ottinger has looked more human in the last couple games than he has pretty much the whole postseason. I know there's been some games here and there against the Avs and whatever, but I feel like Jake Ottinger is going to have a terrific game tonight. I just don't see the Stars bowing out here, losing 3 games straight. I just feel like that's not how this team is going to end their season. Does that mean they're going to win the series? Who knows, man? John's boy, Pete DeBoer, he's undefeated in game 7, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I'm going to worry about game 7 when game 7 comes. I have no idea. I just don't see the Oilers winning 3 in a row. It's nothing against the Oilers. I just think the Stars are too good, too much pride. They were embarrassed on home ice Friday night. At least their loss in game 4, they scored 2 goals within 5 minutes of the game starting, and they had some juice. But on Friday night, they had nothing. So I'm picking the Stars to win this game tonight. plus 120. I do think that this home ice for Edmonton, like, listeners, viewers need to understand, if you're American viewers, all the hype of your team going to the conference finals and being one game away from the Stanley Cup, you're talking about a city in Canada, times that by 100. And no disrespect to your cities and your hockey fandom, I understand, but that city of Edmonton is just out of control right now. And so the hype in that city leading into this game tonight for Connor McDavid to go to his first Stanley Cup final, like, that could swing so many different ways. The boys could be nervous, hold their sticks too tight, could fall flat. That could boost them, and they could have the night of their lives. Like, this really could go one of 1,000 different ways, and I'm really, really curious to see. I'm going to bet the Dallas Stars at plus 120. If you want to stay away from this game as far as the side goes, I do not blame you at all. In the chat section here, Adam's throwing out some great props. Heiskanen over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 130. Bouchard assist. Anything Bouchard related, I think, is absolutely worth it. And the funny thing here, and I don't know how closely you guys have paid attention to this, but Adam's comment here, the media woke up McDavid when they asked him stupid questions about Nurse. He's going nuts since that question was asked. I can't remember the specific question that he's referring to, but what I can tell you is it is super refreshing seeing how nuts the media in Edmonton is, because Toronto's media is just known for being wacko. And so for having another city's media gain scrutiny is really comforting for me, because I live in the city where the media is just out of control. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm picking Dallas plus 120, but it's going to be really interesting how this series go. This series has been my favorite series so far of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I am just hoping for a close game. I don't want if the Oilers win, I'm hoping for a close game. I don't want 3-0 third period. Like, I hope this game goes down to the wire. If the Stars win, then give us a blowout, because we'll be getting a game 7. So that's fine. I am picking Dallas Stars plus 120. As far as the total goes, I don't know. I would lean over 5.5, but they're both minus money for a reason. I'm not too sure. As always, hey, I just noticed this, Andre, your boy Hyman, minus 105. That's like minus money now. Wyatt Johnston is plus 195. The highest he's been all series long, and he's scored 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row. Maybe that has something to do with it, but he's plus 195. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had a terrific game last game, scored 2 goals. He's plus 270. There's some really interesting goal props here. Rope Hintz has not scored since being back. Since being back from his injury, he's plus 270. Evan Bouchard to score a goal tonight with that Bouch bomb, plus 310. There's some really, really compelling anytime goal scores tonight. If you want to get super crazy with it, Darnell Nurse was basically, before this 2-game winning streak, the Edmonton media basically broke into his house and packed his bags, and his bags are waiting at the Edmonton airport. He's had a terrific 2 games. He's plus 650. There's some really fun storylines you can go with this with the money line prop. And yeah, Adam, I've been saying this the whole series. Just bet Wyatt Johnston goal all the time, and if it loses, it loses. But that's one of the best bets in this series. And a Dallas money line. I'm right there with you on the shot prop side of things. Just take a look to make sure I get this right. Yeah, on the shot prop side of things, Wyatt Johnston over 2.5 shots on goals, minus 125. So it's a little bit juicy, but over 2.5 is a pretty low number. So I really like that at minus 125. So lots of ways you can go, but I do like Dallas to win tonight. All right, moving on to our best bets, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens and dozens of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular price items, but sales items as well. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, they have it all. So go to firstroundcollectibles.com today. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. Use promo code SportsAddict for 10% off every card in the First Round Collectibles store. All right, John, give it to us, man. What is your best bet on this Sunday morning for this Sunday night? Game 6.
I won't lie. I'm too much of a chicken to put a money line bet in this. As much as I enjoyed a Wyatt Johnston hype, I feel like I'm playing with fire a bit, trying to include a prop of his in here. So I'm going to go a different direction. Tyler Seguin, I really, really like him to get on the board tonight. I was almost tempted to include him in the Game 5 parlay, but here I really like it. He's been off the board for 2 games now. Last game, he still had 3 shots on goal, despite really a terrible game overall by Dallas. I think Seguin gets a point tonight. That's my best bet.
Love it. What about you, Andre? What do you got here?
Well, you heard me talking good about him earlier, and the odds aren't the greatest, but I think it's a lock. So this guy, 19 assists in 17 postseason games this year. He had 2 in the 3-1 win on Friday, 5 this series, 11 last series, 9 in the first round. That is Mr. Evan Bouchard picking up an assist, minus 145.
Love it. Yeah, I love it. And listen, I love our show. I love Andre and John. I think we are a terrific trifecta. You know that the show's not the same if I don't throw John under the bus, so I'm going to do it right now. John, playing with fire, Wyatt Johnston, last 4 games, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 2 points. 5 points in 5 games, or 5 points in 4 games, rather. Now, I will say this. I am a little bit chicken about the goal. I know, like, listen, in my personal life, I am betting a Wyatt Johnston goal prop. That's just a far gone conclusion. I actually may have already done it. My son's feeling a little bit sick. We stayed home from church this morning, so I've been pretty much just gambling all morning, and so I forget what I bet on. But I probably have bet on Wyatt Johnston. What I will say is this: Wyatt Johnston, like I said, point, 2 points, 5 points in 4 games. A Wyatt Johnston over half a point. 1 point for Wyatt Johnston is minus 115. And I'll take that all day. So if you're a little bit scared about an assist, a little bit scared about a shot prop, a little bit scared about a goal, Wyatt Johnston over half a point at minus 115. I absolutely love that for my best bet. So lock it in.
Got some props today, boys.
Yep.
John, starting off with Tyler Seguin, picking up a point, plus 114. Mark, you had Wyatt Johnston picking up a point, it's minus 115. I have Evan Bouchard picking up a point too, but it has to be an assist, and that's minus 145. And together, it's a plus 440 parlay.
You can't do alternate points on a same game parlay on DK, can you?
No, we know who they are by now.
Yeah, because I just noticed this. Over half a point is minus 115. Alternate points, 1+ point is minus 110 for whatever reason for Wyatt Johnston. 2+ points for Wyatt Johnston is plus 425 if you're feeling extra frisky on this Sunday. So absolutely love it, man. What were those total odds again? +4?
What did you say?
What were the total odds again? +4 what?
Plus 440.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, everybody, as always, appreciate you watching. Just real quick, so whether the Oilers win tonight or there's a Game 7 on Tuesday, tomorrow there will be no Pucks Across Borders. I am gone. We're going to take the day off. But Tuesday morning, whether there's a Game 7 or not, we will be back on Tuesday, either talking about a Game 7 or previewing the Stanley Cup Finals. Either way, we will see you all on Tuesday morning. So have a great rest of your Sunday. Watching some golf, watching some baseball, lots of sports on throughout the day before we get to Game 6 tonight. Whether you're watching now or later in the day, we appreciate you. Like, subscribe on YouTube, follow all of us on Twitter, all that good stuff. First Round Collectibles, promo code SportsAddict for 10% off. That's firstroundcollectibles.com. Enjoy the games tonight. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.
Go hard.